Honorable members, prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, intending that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. Amen. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Communication from the President. This is in a letter dated 25th May 2021, titled Absence from Ghana. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Article 59 of the Constitution, I write to inform you that in my capacity as Chairperson of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, as well as the President of the Republic, I will be traveling outside the country to Abuja, capital of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in the evening of Wednesday, 26th May 2021, at the invitation of Right Honorable Dr. Sidi Mohammed Tunis, Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, to deliver the keynote address at the opening ceremony of the 2021 First Ordinary Session of the Parliament, to be held on Thursday, 27th May 2021 in Abuja. I will also meet with my counterpart, the President of the Republic, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, during my visit to discuss issues of mutual interest. I will return to Ghana in the evening of Thursday, 27th May 2021. During my absence, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, shall, in accordance with Article 68 of the Constitution, act in my stead. Accept, Mr. Speaker, the assurances of my highest consideration and best wishes, Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo. Honorable members, we move to item 3, correction of votes and proceedings and official reports. I have at hand the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 25th May 2021, and the official report of Thursday, 4th March 2021. We will start with the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 25th May 2021. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Yes, Honorable James Abeji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, page 4, item 101. The Collins Al-Haji. Mr. Speaker, he has been marked present, but I'm aware that he is out of the country on Pan-African Parliament duties. So if he can be marked as absent with permission.
Clerk at table to take note. Page 5. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, item number 173. My name has been spelled wrongly, AG. My name is spelled ADJARE. Thank you.
Sorry, item number
173.
173. The spelling of her name. Please, table office, take note. Page 6. Page 7. Use every feeler to feel it. Page 8. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, my name has been written as absent on number 39. That's page 8, but I was present yesterday. Number 39. Nyako, they will be in the middle. So Nyako Kwamina Minta, but it's Nyako Minta Kwamina.
You raised two issues.
Yes, please.
The first is that
It's supposed to be a present and not out.
you were present yesterday.
Yes, please.
And the second,
Kwamina is supposed to be Nyako Kwamina Minta. So it's not supposed to be Nyako Minta Kwamina.
So Kwame is supposed to be in the middle.
Yes, Kwamina is supposed to be in the middle because that's my first name.
table office, take note, he was present yesterday, and the name is Nyako Kwamina Minta.
Yes, please.
Page 9. Honorable Ablakwa.
Most grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. The first paragraph, Right Honourable Speaker, second line, the President of Niger, it should be His Excellency Mahamudu Issoufou. It should be OU and not UO, as has been captured here. This sounds like Issoufou, but it should be Issoufou, OU. And then, Mr. Speaker, still on that page, with your permission, the paragraph numbered 7, the last line, Tuesday, 27th April 2021. Tuesday has been spelled without an S. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Table office take notes. Page 10. Page 11. Yes, Honorable Blackwell.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Please, the item numbered XIV at page 11, the Honourable Kweku Amprechum Sapon is a member of Parliament. All the other members of Parliament have been duly acknowledged with MP. He's the only one without that. So, for consistency, is my former Vice Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Honourable Kweku Amprechum Sapon. Please add MP, just as has been done for the other members of Parliament.
Yes, Honourable Member, you are right. Table office, take note. Page 12. Page 13. Page 4. Yes, Honorable Blackwell.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Please, at page 14, item number 15, it should be Africa Day. It's Africa Day commemoration, not African Union Day.
Noted. Table office, kindly take note. Page 15. Yes, Honorable.
Honourable Speaker, on page 13, before the corrections were done, there was also an announcement on a letter you received from the Honourable MP for Northton, and some directions were given, but it's not captured in the proceedings. With respect to the resignation letter and resignation letter from the Appointments Committee, Mr. Speaker.
You said page 13.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Before, it was part of the announcements that you made yesterday, but it's not been captured in the proceedings.
Well, you thought that was quite a key issue to be captured by votes and proceedings. That is your view. The technical people at the table will consider whether it qualifies according to the standing orders of the House and then the practice and procedures of Parliament. So we go back to page 15. Page 16. Page 17. Page 18. Page Page 19. Page 20. Page 21. Honorable members, the votes and proceedings of the first sitting of the second meeting of the first session held on Tuesday, 25th May 2021, corrected are adopted as a true record of proceedings. We now take the official report of Thursday, 4th March 2021. Any corrections? Yes, Honorable Ablakwa.
Most grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Please, at column 014, the list of ministries, we will have to just clean up to, Mr. Speaker. The item number 4 should be communications and digitalization. And then the entry number 9 should be railways development, the Ministry for Railways Development. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Table office, take note of the correction. Honorable members, the official report of Thursday, 4th March 2021, as corrected, represents the true records of proceedings. Honorable members, item 4. We have so many statements. Yes. Honorable Minority Leader.
Speaker, I see you are introducing item 4. And with your indulgence, I come on the strength of Standing Order 72 to just raise a matter of public importance. One, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, as you welcome us and took comments from the leadership, the Honorable Ahmed, Deputy Whip, drew your attention to the urgency of the consideration of the statutory funds, the GET Fund, the National Health Insurance Fund, and the constitutionally established District Assembly Common Fund under Article 252. We speak, the boards of these institutions have not been constituted as is expected of the President. Quite apart from that, take for instance the road fund. Our road contractors live on it and they get monthly releases as the road fund is. The Minister for Roads was inaugurated 5th of March. We are ending May. Why is the road fund board not constituted? Why is it not functioning? How do you expect contractors to survive? January, February, March, we can understand we're undergoing a transition. Now, Speaker, a lot of them, we have a duty to protect the Ghanaian private sector, and that duty must be extended to Ghanaian contractors who the road fund owes. Even as government cannot find money for them, at least administratively, let the administrative machinery work with assurances that government is constituting the road fund. Many institutions, chief executives have not been appointed, boards have not been appointed, I do not share the view that this function or roles be reduced to ministerial role. I cannot imagine a minister for education wanting to come to parliament to present the GET fund to parliament. That will not be acceptable. It must be the GET fund board, so constituted as required by the Parent Act creating it. National Health Insurance Fund, there are challenges we need to know. And then this Assembly Common Fund, I said, as established under Article 2. Honorable Anyimedu, I heard your whisper. I said, as established by Article 252, the Common Fund, we need to know. So, Mr. Speaker, a matter of urgent public importance, the President must wake up and act urgently to secure and protect the interests of our road contractors by getting the road minister, it's a shared responsibility to get the road fund board properly constituted so that whatever money they've had in the last few months, they can get some respite from the releases from the fund. One cannot understand why it's taking this long to get the road fund constituted. How long does it take for a president to appoint a chief executive? Why? You don't have the men. Let us know. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, once I've indulged the minority, I will need to give the opportunity to the majority leader if you have something to say, because by the standing orders you cited, the terms of any such proposed statement shall first be submitted to Mr. Speaker, which has not been submitted to me, but being the leader on the other side, I indulge you. So I will have to indulge the majority leader too. Majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, you've taken the winds out of my sail. Mr. Speaker, I have the standing of this. I was struggling to see the relevant provision of the standing orders that the minority leader was coming under. He cited Order 72. Mr. Speaker, to be fair, let's read the provision of Order 72. By the indulgence of the House and leave of Mr. Speaker, a member may, at the time appointed for such statements under Order 53, that is order of business, explain a matter of personal nature, or make a statement on a matter of urgent public importance. Any statement other than a personal statement may be commented upon by other members for a limited duration of time, not exceeding 1 hour. The terms of any such proposed statement shall first be submitted to Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue that has been raised by the Honourable Minority Leader, I believe, certainly is of some urgency. It's a matter of public importance. But to be fair to the House and to be fair to the Speaker, you must submit a statement. Tomorrow, what are you going to do? After you have made an oral statement, what are you going to do tomorrow? The minority leader has the capacity and the characterization of usually coming under some provision that he himself conjures, and with due alacrity, he pours himself out. It's not a skill. This is being very disingenuous to the House. Mr. Speaker, as I said, I think the matter raised is a matter of public importance. We must dialogue over it. I think that we need really to engage. We need to engage on that. That's the usual vicissitudes of the minority. They are notwithstanding. I would agree. I'm not too sure you have the men. Mr. Speaker, we have the men and the women. He said that they have the men. We have the men and the women. But, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I think we can certainly dialogue on that to see what it is that must be done. I thank you.
Honorable members, I very well understand the pressures, and so the indulgence of the House has to be sought, and that has been granted. I granted the leave after they have both spoken, so it suffices. We move on to statements. We have a lot of statements from members, and we are going to vary the practice, not the rule, the practice. We'll be giving time lines, allotting time for statements to be made, and also for comments, if necessary. It's not all statements that you have the opportunity to make comments. If the statements are personal or constituency specific, there will be no need to dilute that statement by permitting comments. By having the statements, no MP will have the leisure statement for more than 10 minutes. At the end of the 10 minutes, you'll be bailed off, and you have to submit the full contents of the statement at the table office to be captured by the official report. Comments thereto will not be more than 5 minutes. Some comments take more than 30 minutes. That is so offensive to even the standing orders. And so from now on, that will be the practice so that we can have space for many more people to have the opportunity to submit the statements and make them timelessly. We have statements dating back to about 2nd February. And there are too many for us to take. But we'll grant the opportunity to as many as we can. And so, with the kind permission of the House, we may take 3 statements. 3 statements for today. And I will guide the House according to the earlier instructions I've given. So we have a statement standing in the name of Honorable Alexander Roosevelt Otoji. The statement is on the need to improve National Health Insurance Authority's reimbursement of public health services at the primary health care level to accelerate Ghana's progress at achieving universal health coverage. Well, if the honorable member is not available, we move to a statement standing in the name of Honorable Dafia Mako. And it's not ready. We have a statement standing in the name of Honorable Adams Abdul Salam, member for New Ejubriase constituency. The statement is on the state of ambulance services in the new Edubiasi constituency. Is honorable member available? We have a statement in the name of Madam Elizabeth Asantiwa.
No, he's here.
I'm here.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Yes, the honorable member for New Edubiasi. Yes, you may go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make a statement on the state of ambulance services.
Yes, but before you go on, is the name Adams Abdul Salam or Abdul Salam Adams?
It's Adams Abdul Salam, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, because what you have there is Abdul Salam Adams.
Yes.
But on your statement is Adams Abdul Salam.
Yes,
So you go on. The table office will take note and correct it accordingly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make a statement on the state of ambulance services in the new Edubiasi constituency. Mr. Speaker, the National Ambulance Service was established in 2004 as an agency of the Ministry of Health. As a statutory body, the National Ambulance Service is charged with the responsibility of providing comprehensive pre-hospital and emergency care. Mr. Speaker, last year, the government commissioned and distributed 307 ambulances to all 275 constituencies in the country to help improve emergency healthcare delivery. Mr. Speaker, this without a doubt has enhanced emergency health care services in our various constituencies. However, the agency is faced with challenges that sometimes exacerbate the conditions of the sick and the injured, or even lead to avoidable deaths. For instance, Mr. Speaker, on 2nd February 2021, Mr. Teko Wilson, a head teacher at Adansi Subinkam, a community in the New Edubiasi constituency, was involved in a car accident. When he was returning to the community for work, he sustained life-threatening injuries and was rushed to the New Edubiasi Government Hospital for treatment. Upon reaching the hospital, he was immediately referred to the Okonfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, the services of an ambulance. When friends of the victim reached out to the New Edubiasi Ambulance Service, they were told the driver of the ambulance was indisposed and therefore were unable to render services without a designated ambulance driver. Mr. Speaker, it took 5 hours after a request for the Adansi Asopa constituency ambulance to arrive, by which time, Mr. Speaker, the victim has succumbed to the head injuries he sustained from the accident. When I reached out to the Director of Ambulance Service in the New Edubiasi constituency, he confirmed the story and bemoaned the lack of adequate staff, including drivers, in the constituency. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Teko may still be alive if he had had the required medical services and a quick transfer to the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital in time for further medical support. Another example, Mr. Speaker, was when the Adansi South District Police Commander, DS Francis Aka, was found unconscious in his house on 6 April 2021. When an officer reached out to the ambulance services to transport Mr. Aka to the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital, a tussle began. Apparently, for security reasons, the National Ambulance Services have stopped operating at night. Mr. Speaker, it took the combined efforts of the Divisional Police Commander, the Adansi South District Chief Executive, and the Ashanti Regional Minister to get officials of the Regional Ambulance Services to yield after several hours. Thank God, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Aka survived and is doing well. Mr. Speaker, in the United States, the average response time for emergency services to arrive is estimated to be 7 minutes. In the United Kingdom, it is estimated to be 8 minutes. In Ghana, Mr. Speaker, the average response time in Greater Accra region is around 16.9 minutes. However, in rural communities have an average response time of almost 60 minutes or more, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when people are in critical conditions, 60 minutes could be too long a time for a medical response. Yet, sadly, this is the state of emergency medical services in the New Edubiasi constituency, and I presume in many other rural communities. Mr. Speaker, it is evident that the agency has a deficit in human capacity to deliver the required services to Ghanaians. My checks, Mr. Speaker, indicate that the National Ambulance Services has a total of 2,147 emergency medical technicians and only 900 emergency medical technician trainees. This number, Mr. Speaker, is inadequate. Also, there is not a system of ambulance services to ascertain availability of beds at the various referral facilities to enable them move patients who require help to these facilities. The way forward, Mr. Speaker, includes training and recruiting more emergency medical technicians to augment the existing ones, strengthening ties with local health facilities to ensure timely emergency medical care and appropriateness of transfers, and enhancing public awareness about National Ambulance Service. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to urge this House to consider passing the National Ambulance Service Bill into law. When passed, the law will establish a publicly funded ambulance service to provide effective, coordinated, and timely delivery of emergency services to the sick and injured in the country. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Honorable members, this is constituency specific. I'm reluctant to allow comments. He is your neighbor. So are you in the same constituency?
Mr. Speaker, Adansi Asokwa and Adansi New Edubiasi shares a very gray area, which is the boundary line. So literally the same Adansi constituency. And I am the spokesperson for the whole of the Adansi. Chairman of the enclave.
Honorable K.T. Hammond.
Mr. Speaker.
Just not long ago, you also claim to be the senior prefect of the House.
I didn't claim to be it, I'm saying. You made me the class prefect of this house.
You claimed it and nobody objected to it, so I had to confirm it on you.
You had no
Now,
choice.
another claim is being made about being the spokesperson for the whole of Adanse.
Mr. Speaker, incidentally, there is some other history you may not be aware of. I am the Adanse Hines in Koswahine for the whole of the Adanse traditional area. And I have been since 2002, Mr. Speaker. The second Deputy Speaker, Mr. Speaker, is here, is prepared to bear witness. He knows about that.
You are now calling witnesses. Yes, I'll take note of that. But I'll now go to see the Gazette, whether you've been gazetted as a chief or not.
Incidentally, it's not a gazettable one. That is why I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable to share it with the whole world. If it was, you can be sure I'll be very quiet. It isn't, so you won't find it in any gazette this weekend.
Yes, I am tempted to give him opportunity of 5 minutes to comment on the statement.
I'll do it in less than 2 minutes.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my senior colleague started creating some empire on that enclave, but he has succeeded on you conferring on him that he's the senior class prefect of this, or senior prefect of the chamber. But there's a leader of the house. Where are we seemingly going? And I know somebody who started from an enclave and now taking over an empire. If care is not taken, by the time he finishes his rendition, he will say that he is the speaker of this chamber.
Well, once you acknowledge that he was your senior, I think it's not proper to question his entitlements. But the leader of the house is a leader of the house.
Absolutely.
That is different from a senior prefect.
That's right.
Senior prefect is a senior prefect. That is, if there are prefects around for one to be senior. So there is no position in Parliament because there are no prefects here for one to be senior. So you can confer non-existent titles on people. That is permitted. But the leader of the house is a title that is known, accepted, and legalized. Yes, but I can see the leader wants to say something.
Mr. Speaker, I just noticed that even a very innocuous application to you, I think you are minded to expand his territory. The man started by indicating to you that he is the class prefect. He didn't say the senior prefect. Class. I will need to even know which class.
No, I heard senior prefect. I didn't hear class prefect.
Mr. Speaker, he himself said he's a class prefect. not a senior
Mr. Speaker,
prefect.
again, the dividing line between a senior prefect, Mr. Speaker, very gray. So indeed, we've been talking about senior prefect, Mr. Speaker, senior prefect. Senior prefect. Now, Mr. Speaker, I was worried about the young man there. I thought that it's Johnny just comes who would need the tutorial by the Speaker with respect to the leadership contest we are talking about. They said, a big boy like you, you don't know the difference between the majority leader, the leader of the house, and the senior prefect. What are you talking about, Mr. Speaker? Yeah, the senior prefect, I would never lay claim to the credentials of the number 6 man. Is he number 6 or number 5? I'm not sure about his number. Number 6. Yeah, I'm afraid of contribution.
Honorable K.T. Hammond.
Mr. Speaker.
My advice is that don't swim in unknown waters.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Just make your comments on the statement, then we move on.
Thank you very much. Point of order. My colleague is on the point of...
Please allow him to make his comments. He is not out of order. Allow him to make his comments.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make a contribution. Mr. Speaker, I realize that nobody was helping my friend, but let's put things in perspective. Speaker, I heard you with the statistics about ambulance service in the United Kingdom, in America, and of course, it talks specifically about the situation in Adansi Asopa. Speaker, I think we should be grateful to the government of NPP for the singular act of making sure that we have 275 ambulance vehicles in every respective constituency, Mr. Speaker, in this country. It is a matter that nobody can gloss over. It is very significant. Mr. Speaker, I'm concerned about the constituencies. Of course, I know there are quite a lot of surplus ambulances making their rounds. I think he mentioned the specific case of the unfortunate situation where they called an ambulance service. What might have happened to their own services, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure. But must have called on the Asoko one and it did delay. This must be looked at in the ambience of what is going on. It can never be looked in isolation. If it was meant to be a criticism, I fail to support that. That it took 5 hours, it took whatever hours. Speaker, he is wrong on the statistics he's giving. On the 1st of January, I called an ambulance service in the United Kingdom, London specifically, and Mr. Speaker, for 5 plans did not arrive. It was a colleague, doctor friend of mine, who managed to perform the service of the ambulance service. Mr. Speaker, so you cannot simply make general statements about specific time schedules, Mr. Speaker, as he does make. 3-4 days ago, I arrived from London yesterday. 3-4 days ago, again, I called an ambulance. And Mr. Speaker, on this occasion, in about 5 minutes, it was there. It all depends on the circumstances. So, a criticism, because whatever happened, the ambulance from Asopa took the number of hours he's talked about. Indeed, the important thing is that there was a standby ambulance vehicle at Asoka to move to New Adibiase. That is to commend the government about. There were days gone by, Mr. Speaker, where we simply had one ambulance service at Konfanoche Hospital. One constituent of mine, Mr. Speaker, was involved in an accident about 1 o'clock in the night. We had to call the ambulance from Kumasi, and it took them about how many hours to drive all the way. Indeed, they did their best, but to come all the way from Kumasi, Konfanoche Hospital, Mr. Speaker, to pick up this patient and straight to Konfanoche Hospital. These days, we have the luxury of being able to call an ambulance within a single constituency, and indeed in his own constituency, the New Edibiase constituency. We should give praise to the NPP government, particularly with respect to this ambulance thing that is now become, I believe, a luxury. You see it and it has a name. And Anansi Asoka constituency. I think majority leader, yours is majority leader or number 5 or number what? I'm not sure. Maybe Swami. I don't know. But you have. He's laughing. Subi, it is written there boldly. Subi constituency. We should be proud about that. We should be grateful to the NPP government. Somebody mentioned Nandoli Kalio. You're not talking about the speaker himself, but I'm sure the speaker also has got one. North Kong constituency. The Honorable Ablakwa, he's got one there. He's not concentrating. Yes, he hasn't heard me. Yes, keep on going. I'm talking about you, Mr. Speaker. I think we should give encouragement to those who operate the services, help them, so that ultimately it becomes a blessing for the whole of the country. Mr. Speaker, I promise you I'll take only 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, this was just a statement. It's not meant to be debated. And the statement was not critical of government. the statement was drawing our attention to the paucity of the number of health personnel to manage the ambulances that have been distributed. And that is why it stated there's deficit in the human capacity to deliver the required services to Ghanaians. So it was not meant to criticize government. And he gave the numbers. Again, I was Minister for Health. And I personally, as a Minister of Health, distributed 161 new ambulances. That time, we had only 33 in the whole country. And so when you added the 161, it went to 194. And so it's good to keep on increasing. But maintenance is an issue. By the time you get back to take census of the 39 that was distributed by government, you won't get that number again because of the issue of maintenance. And so we need to look at the issue we have to consider because dealing with the life of ourselves and our people. So please, let's take note and let's do something to support the National Ambulance Service. The other thing I want to point out is that we have already passed the law. I've seen that the maker of the statement was urging the House to consider passing the law. We've already passed an act on the National Ambulance Service. That is how come it got established. If there's any need for us to improve it, let's get the feedback and then the House will be ready to work on it. With this, we'll move on to the next statement, which I stated earlier on, stands in the name of Honorable Elizabeth Asantewa. Sorry, it's standing in the name of Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dafiemako on the need for the state to take responsibility over Madam Elizabeth Asantewa.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to make this statement. And may I urge the table office to capture, or the Hansa department to capture the entire statement as admitted. Mr. Speaker, Madam Elizabeth Asantewa, an innocent victim of the 1964 bomb blast at Kulungugu in the Upper West region of Ghana, continues to live in severe pain and deprivation.
Did I hear you say Upper West region of Ghana?
Upper region. Mr. Speaker, in the upper region, if the record so reflects, then upper region, Mr. Speaker. In severe deprivation and apparently neglected after Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was overthrown in 1966. Mr. Speaker, as a young girl as a young girl in 1964, she was given a bouquet of flowers to hand over to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Unknown to the little girl, a bomb was planted in the flowers, which exploded in her face, causing her severe injuries. Mr. Speaker, Madam Asantewa virtually lost one of her limbs, as she had to be amputated, with the other leg continuing to develop bearable pain. Mr. Speaker, accounts have indicated that the then President Kwame Nkrumah, having taken notice of a condition resulting from the unfortunate incident in 1964, dedicated to take care of her, resulting in her being flown to the United Kingdom for medical attention. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, that intervention from government ceased the very moment Dr. Osagyefo was overthrown. Mr. Speaker, since then, Mr. Speaker, since then, her situation has worsened. And, Mr. Speaker, occasionally individuals and groups who have learnt of her condition come around to make donations to her. For instance, Mr. Speaker, about September 2015, a youth group from the National Democratic Congress paid her a visit and made some donations for her upkeep. Mr. Speaker, in March 2019, some 2 years ago, a non-governmental organization, Able Initiative, committing in helping persons living with disabilities, went to her aid. Mr. Speaker, the question that arises, therefore, is if no one visits to make donations to this woman, how does the 71-year-old survive? Mr. Speaker, in one of her accounts that is downloadable from YouTube video I watched recently, Mr. Speaker, and I provided the link as below in the statement. Mr. Speaker, there comes a time when she could barely have anything to eat. And for 57 years, this innocent girl grew up into an adult with her dreams shattered. She could barely do anything for herself. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the nation has abandoned this innocent woman to her fate through no fault of hers. It was maimed at a national event some 57 years ago. For nothing at all. She was at the time undertaking an assignment whose symbol continues to be practiced today. Mr. Speaker, till today, a bouquet of flowers are handed over to our president at events. We note the significance of these gestures, but have failed to simply pay attention to a single individual who has been rendered futureless, Mr. Speaker, by some unfortunate conspirators. I want to draw the attention of this House, Mr. Speaker, on the need to impress upon government to make arrangements to ensure her medical conditions are attended to, and if possible, a compensation paid to her for how unfair the nation she almost died for at such a tender age of 13 has treated her for the past 57 years. She remains a victim of extreme misguided acts and must not be made to suffer this into her death. Mr. Speaker, her pain must be minimized through our gesture as Parliament and as a nation. Attending to her will simply re-emphasize the point that the country cares about people who lay their lives for this nation. It's unfortunate that other media reports aimed at bringing her story to the attention of the public. The state has not been able to lend any hand of support. Mr. Speaker, she is a daughter of the state who requires maximum protection based on what she was going through. The nation Ghana must stand for her, and that must be done while she remains alive. Her courage and belief continues to amaze many. So the nation has an opportunity to put smiles back on the face of Madam Elizabeth Asantewaa. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the statement ably made by my good friend Roxanne Dafiamepo on behalf of Madam Elizabeth Asantewaa. Mr. Speaker, there are quite a number of people who's put their lives on the line for this great nation of ours. And the country, through no fault of ours, sometimes have forgotten about them, especially when we don't have any good records or documentations to be able to, or institutions to be able to track their well-being for whatever they've done for the country in the area of the military, sports, and what have you. Mr. Speaker, It is gratifying that my good friend has done a thorough research. This bold woman, who I refer to as a hero for what she did on that day, and it's a good call on the House to put in place measures and recognize such brave nationals of ours, so that at every point in time we look after them, we take good care of their needs, we visit them, we make the appropriate compensation due them, and make them happy for dying for the country Ghana. Mr. Speaker, so I will support the call by my good friend that what the state has to do to support her life or her family has to be done. If Parliament has a role to play, we have to do that. And I believe it's very good for Mr. Speaker to have admitted the statement as the first point of call to support this brave woman. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, we have the last statement standing in the name of the honorable member for Old Tafo. Honorable Vincent Asifua, and it is on education and teacher reforms.
Thank you very much, the Right Honorable Speaker. I'm grateful for the opportunity to make a statement on the importance of technical and vocational education and training and the need to focus on it as a country. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is blessed by God with abundant natural resources. It behoves on us as a people to drive the maximum possible benefit from it through industrialization to make the lives of our people better. But to be able to do so, the critical bridge to cross is vital skills acquisition. It is these skills together with innovation that can and do serve as catalysts to move this country beyond the role of hewers of wood and drawers of water for the benefit of other nations. Without these, the natural resources remain just what they are and sitting in the earth or on our trees. It is therefore imperative that we invest in ensuring that our citizenry possess the necessary skills to lift this country onto the sunlit path of prosperity and progress. Mr. Speaker, when the MPP under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo took over the reins of government in his first term in 2017, there were several challenges which were hindering the impact of TVET supposed to make in the country. These included: 1, poor linkage between training institutions and industry; 2, a deeply landscape and lack of coordination among multiple TVET delivery agencies; 3, multiplicity of standards, testing and certification; low quality of instruction due to inadequate instructor training and lack of instructional support and TVET infrastructure; an informal TVET system that had been neglected and detached from the formal sector; poor public perception of TVET. Mr. Speaker, government therefore set out a 5-year strategic plan for TVET transformation. It is also tied to the broader education sector plan, that is the ESP, being implemented by the Ministry of Education. Mr. Speaker, the following key milestones have been achieved. 1, the merger of CODVET and NAPTES as a result of the passage of the Education Regulatory Bodies Act 1023. This will ensure the effective regulation, standardization, certification, and promotion of technical and vocational education and training for transformation and innovation for sustainable development. The Pre-Tertiary Education Act, which brings all pre-tertiary TVET, pre-tertiary institutions and the Ministry of Education to ensure standardization of certification, has been passed. The Act also establishes and allows for the operationalization of the Technical and Vocational Education Service as a pre-tertiary delivery agency under the Ministry of Education. Parliament in August last year also passed the University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development Act 2020, which is establishing an apex institution for the training of more TVET staff for the sector. Government have also begun the establishment of sector skills bodies to focus on the exploration of business opportunities, innovation, and capacity needs within the sector. Mr. Speaker, a total of 32 state-of-the-art TVET institutions, 2 per region, costing about $500 million, will be constructed across all the 16 regions of Ghana. This government is also upgrading and modernizing all national vocational training institutes, that is NVTIs, and opportunity industrialization centers in the country. Mr. Speaker, work is also ongoing for the construction of 3 foundries and machinery. We are upgrading 17 technical and vocational institutes across the country and building an office complex to support the unit responsible for TVET examination. Overall, on infrastructure alone, this government has invested over $700 million in TVET. Mr. Speaker, on quality assurance, the key achievements are also enumerated below. Operationalization of National TVET Qualifications Framework. 2, implementation of competency-based training. 3, also 42 CBT curricula have been developed, with more underway. It is our aim that by 2022, all TVET institutions will be using approach as the mode of instruction and issuing certificates on the NTVE-TQF. Mr. Speaker, in order to ensure the apprenticeship training is properly regulated, the Ministry of Education has submitted a draft national apprenticeship policy to Cabinet for approval. This sets out the mechanisms required to strengthen the apprenticeship system in Ghana and help improve opportunities for youth employment. Mr. Speaker, government, in collaboration with the German government, has also provided free apprenticeship training to over 13,000 Ghanaians since 2017, Ghana TVET voucher project being implemented by CODVET. In addition to this, free TVET is a key component of free senior high school initiative, and over 65,000 learners have so far benefited from this in the various technical institutes under the Ministry of Education. Mr. Speaker, if we are to make headway with the investments and reforms we are pursuing in TVET, we must necessarily confront head-on the negative image TVET has suffered over the years as a refuge for academically weak students and as a last resort for young people considering careers. Through the My TVET campaign and other initiatives, this government is working assiduously with various stakeholders to ensure that TVET becomes a first rather than last option for young people seeking to go into the world of work. Mr. Speaker, In the past 4 years, through my work at the Ministry of Education, I was privileged to witness at first hand by the ministry under the sector minister and his able deputies. Mr. Speaker, our country has a mass of young working force who are eager to work but lack the requisite skills that are necessary to provide them with sustainable livelihoods to take care of themselves and their families. If we ignore them, we will have a social implosion on our hands. For a restless, unemployed, and unemployable youthful population is a recipe for disaster on so many levels and is actually a security threat. It cannot be tenable that people in this country have to import tilers from nations, or that we have not trained enough young Ghanaians to take up specialized skills job in the oil sector following the discovery of oil in commercial quantities in 2007. Mr. Speaker, if we invest in our young people and provide them with the vital skills that are relevant in the 21st century, we not only tackle our industrialization agenda, but also our youth employment challenges. We therefore have a duty to treat this critical subsector with all the urgency that we can master, because it is linked directly to the success or otherwise of the industrialized and modern country that we all yearn to see actualized. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to make this statement of government in line with Order 72 in this August House. Thank you so much.
Yes, honourable member.
Thank you for the opportunity for me to also comment on the statement on the floor. Mr. Speaker, I think the Technical and Vocational Institute is very, very important that the country needs to look at it very well. Mr. Speaker, when we're able to train the technical and vocational students, they come out with their own businesses. They also open their own businesses and also employ others, which also help to reduce this unemployment issue in the country. Mr. Speaker, the government or all of us has to come out and give them proper training so that after they finish, they won't be cried out of the employment issues. Mr. Speaker, we have to also commend the former president, President Mama, for upgrading these technical universities. Because before, if you're a technical student or vocational student, when you finish, you don't know your future, where to go. But at the moment, there's a technical university, a whole technical universities across the country, which is very, very commendable. So when the person is going to institute or vocational institute, he knows, he or she knows. After that, he can go to university. So, Mr. Speaker, when we train them properly, we give them attention by giving them the necessary equipments and tools and other things they need to upgrade themselves. Mr. Speaker, when they finish, they will come out fully equipped by working on their own without fighting for job anywhere. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, thank you very much for allowing me.
Yes, honourable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the maker of the statement. Yes, the way to youth unemployment is through TVET. But the major challenge we're facing in TVET is parents do not want their children who have passion in TVET to pursue TVET programs. Mr. Speaker, the kind of investment we've made in TVET in the area of infrastructure, in area of machinery and equipment, work that our first-class students pursue TVET programs. And through this TVET agenda, we're going to have the industries and our own personnel taking care of these industries. Mr. Speaker, it will interest the House to note that with all the exploitation you're making in the oil field, we don't have the experts in the country. Not even one single submarine welder is a Ghanaian. All because we've left us for other nationals to take advantage of that. In building our various factories and tall buildings, when you get to the area of tile laying and the areas of POP, that's the finishing, hard finishing, you hardly find Ghanaians working there. And for this reason, under CODVET, we have undertaken skill analysis to ensure that the gaps are being filled. So I'll take advantage of the statement and appeal to the House that as members of the legislature, we shouldn't see our individuals who are dropouts and just push them into TVET as if TVET is meant for only dropouts. But we should individuals who have the interest and the passion to be in the TVET areas, and you work on their psyche to know that it's only the A-class students who can get into TVET. Because, Mr. Speaker, TVET is from birth to death. Whatever you need to make your home comfortable, to make our vehicles comfortable, to improve our safety on our roads, as well as safety at home, is through TVET. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to thank you to psych their individuals to take TVET as the first option. Thank you.
The last person, yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to this statement. Mr. Speaker, TVET is seriously a sector that needs to be looked at. And very interestingly, the government has demonstrated serious commitment to ensuring that the problems confronting TVET is well addressed. Mr. Speaker, if you look at our school system, there are two pathways, the grammar type and the TVET sector. There has been focused attention over the years on the grammar type education. There's been serious and significant investment in the grammar type education. The pathways through grammar type education is very obvious. You start from basic school, you get to senior secondary school, and then you move to university. The pathway for technical vocational education appears very cumbersome. There are several processes that one has to go through before they get a certain certification in TVET. That probably have caused some lethargy by parents and by people from assessing TVET programs. And so there's the need for us to look at the whole TVET qualification framework and then align the TVET qualification framework to our national qualification framework in terms of the academic pathway. So if somebody acquires a certain certification in TVET, it can be aligned or equivalent to a grammar type education, and so people will see the sense of going that pathway. The Speaker, currently the investment that the government is making in terms of a jobs and skills project is likely to enhance the provision of TVET in the country, is likely to enhance master craftsmanship, it's likely to enhance apprenticeship, and therefore will enhance a job creation in the country. Mr. Speaker, everyone sitting here, from our top to down, the dresses that we are wearing are all coming from TVET, and it's important that we strengthen TVET service delivery. And I think that the introduction of TVET service that the Pre-Tertiary Education Act established last year, hopefully if it is implemented, will help augment the Ghana Education Service provision of education service delivery in the grammar type education and ensure that TVET, assumes a parity of esteem compared to the grammar type education. Mr. Speaker, with this a few words, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute on this statement.
Honourable members, we've come to the end of statements for today. We'll move to at the commencement of public business, presentation of papers, that is item 5. The following papers to be presented. 5A, by the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Roman 1.
Speaker, I would want to beg your indulgence and that of my colleagues for these papers to be presented on behalf of the relevant ministers by the minister responsible for the interior. And I may come in to assist him if he grows tired in the performance of that function.
Minister for Interior.
Memorandum of Understanding of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS Commission, relating to the implementation of National Early Warning and Response Mechanism Center in Accra, Ghana.
The paper is laid accordingly and referred to the Committee on Foreign Affairs. A Roman 2.
Memorandum of Understanding between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, and the Government of the United Arab Emirates on mutual exemption of entry visa requirements in respect of diplomatic, service, special, and ordinary passport holders.
The same paper is also referred to the same Committee for Foreign Affairs, both for consideration and report to the House. We now move to 5.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, item number 5AII, in connection with the visa requirements with respect of diplomatic services and special envoys. Because of the Immigration Service Act, which was passed by this House, given the issuance of entry visas to the Ministry of Interior, I was of the view that even if you refer this item to the Committee on Foreign Affairs, we can make it a joint Committee of Interior and Foreign Affairs. Because we passed an act in this House, taking the issuance of entry visa from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to the Ministry of Interior. It's in connection with once it's entry visa. Let's make it joint.
Yes, Honourable Member, you are right. I'm aware of that. That time I was the majority leader. But the Minister for Foreign Affairs and the Minister for Interior have informed us that they were trying to resolve the issue of moving that function to the Ghana Immigration Service. We haven't had any final communication from them that it's been resolved. That is why I did not include the Minister of Committee on Interior, and this has been laid by the Minister for Interior for and on behalf of the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. And so let me hear from the Minister whether it will add value to the work of the committee if they are joint committees.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, yes, the visa is now for immigration, but because of the outstanding issues, we're working together. There is no problem at all. Indeed, we are even, we've agreed to establish in 5 missions outside between us. So we are working very well together.
So we can still leave it to the Minister for Committee on Foreign Affairs.
Wrong with making it a joint committee activity. Because the last time there was even an application before the Foreign Affairs, I believe Honorable Ablakwa, I went there and jointly did it with her. So there's nothing wrong with making it joint foreign and interior.
Well, you refer to Honorable Ablakwa, so he wants to be heard. Yes, please, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I can confirm what the Honourable Minister for the Interior has said, that in the previous considerations, we had the Honourable Minister for Interior join the Foreign Minister when we considered this visa waiver agreement. So, and I also do recall that officials of the Immigration Service were in attendance. So, it is very much in order what our Honourable Deputy, at least the leadership of the Committee on Interior and Defence can join us if it be good.
Well, I was present at that meeting as a member of the Committee on Foreign Affairs. I am convinced, and I will amend the order to include the members, not the leadership, the members of the Committee of Interior, together with that of Foreign Affairs. We now move to 5B by the Minister for Youth and Sports. Minister for Youth and Sports. Yes,
Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, if you may indulge me, I'll do so on behalf of the Minister. The Minister for...
Yes, Minister.
It looks like he's engaged in some other...
The understanding was the all there was 5, Roman 1 and Roman 2.
No,
not all papers to be laid by him.
The Speaker, that is the application
that is, it was not properly communicated.
Oh, okay. Then...
Yes, please do.
I would want the Minister responsible for the Interior to papers on behalf of the State Minister.
Well, Minister for Interior, 5B.
Budget performance report in respect of the Ministry of Youth and Sport for the period January to December 2020.
By the Minister for Interior 4 and on behalf of the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, 5C.
Budget performance report in respect of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources for the period January to December 2020.
Sorry, the one lead, 5B, is referred to the Committee on Youth and Sports for consideration and report to the House. Then 5C, referred to the Committee on Lands and Forestry for consideration and report to the House. Now 5D, by the Minister for Interior for and on behalf of the Minister for Information.
Budget performance report in respect of the Ministry of Information for the period January to December 2020.
Referred to the Committee on the Communication for report, for consideration and report to the House. 5E, by the Minister for Interior for and on behalf of the Minister for Railways Development.
Budget performance report in respect of the Ministry of Railways Development for the period January to December 2020.
Referred to the Committee on Roads and Transport for consideration and report to the House. Item 5F, by the Minister for Interior for and on behalf of the Minister for Food and Agriculture.
Budget performance report in respect of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture for the period January to December.
Referred to the Committee on Agriculture for consideration and report to the House. 5G, by the Minister for Interior for and on behalf of the Minister of State at the Office of the President.
Budget performance report in respect of the Office of Government Machinery for December 2020.
Referred to the Committee on Finance for consideration and report to the House. 5H, Minister for Interior for and on behalf of the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development. Well, your presence was not felt. The application was for the Minister for Interior to present all the papers for and on behalf of the ministers. That was listed, and that is what was granted after that application was submitted by the majority leader. So once it's now been laid by the minister himself, I don't know whether it's proper.
Mr. Speaker,
your earlier submissions accordingly amended.
I didn't notice the presence in the chamber of the minister responsible for local government, decentralization, rural development. But if it's here, then there are no better hands to do the presentation than the minister himself. In which case, my application will end at 5G and not include 5H.
Noted, and the presentation of the paper by the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development is accordingly accepted. So, table office, please. Table office.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Brekum West District Assembly for the year 2019.
5H Roman 2. 5H Roman 2. Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Medina Polyclinic, Rolling Circle, for the year 2020.
Honorable members, both papers, that is 5H Roman 1 and 5H Roman 2 are referred to the Finance Committee, Joint Committee of Finance and Local Government and Rural Development for consideration and report to the House. We move to page 4. Yes, Honorable Deputy Whip.
Mr. Speaker, you are moving, but I could see that the leader has challenged with the last referral. So,
the leader has done what?
He has challenged with the last referral, why we are referring the polyclinic annual report to local government and not finance or health. Is that not your issue?
Well, my observation, Speaker, was that this is the annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Medina Polyclinic. It should have been presented by the Minister responsible for health, not local government decentralization, and that was the issue I was discussing with the head of the table office.
I'm sure the issue has been clarified. It should have been the Minister for Health for 5H Roman 2, but it has been laid by the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development on behalf of the Minister for Health and referred to the Committee on Finance and Joint Committee of Finance and Health. Item 6 and 7 have been informed will be taken on further consultation another day. Item 8, committee sittings, and I want the various committees to sit today and at least approve their plans of work for the meeting. With this, I will defer to leadership if there is anything they want the House to know. Please, leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in reading the business statement yesterday, the leader of the House indicated that there will be a joint caucus meeting tomorrow, which is Thursday. So with that, I only want to make an appeal to honorable members, all colleagues, whether you have some inputs in the way forward to have a very successful meeting this meeting. You are entreated to be here in your numbers tomorrow. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I also want us to be specific. Yesterday when we were going to commence sitting at 10, came very early, only to hear an announcement that we were no more going to sit at 10, but rather at 2. So tomorrow's time must be specific so that members will organize and prepare accordingly. These are the only few comments I want to make. Once it's past 2 o'clock, the House is in your hands. Thank you.
Well, before the majority leader, let me just say that I should have, in ceding the chair to the second deputy speaker, informed him that there were some activities that leadership and the speaker were compelled to be present, and that it was unlikely for the House to start sitting at 10. So that omission came from me, the speaker, and I take responsibility for that. By tomorrow, we will really start at 10. prompt. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Yes, tomorrow we'll have the usual business committee meeting at 9, and then at exactly 10, we hope to start sitting of the House, and soon after we start, we will break into the joint caucus, and I guess it will go up to, it's intended to go up to between 11 and 12. Speaker, the matters to be discussed are very germane matters, so we entreat members to be here prompt at 10 to enable us to finish with the discussions as early as possible in order for the House to commence sitting. So that is the information to members to be in attendance. Joint caucus meeting, which would start maybe in all likelihood start at 10, then 15-20 minutes after we commence, we'll break into the joint caucus meeting. Thank you very much.
Yes, honorable members. Since we are still within time, I will still expect the guidance from leadership as to whether we should adjourn or there's any further business for us to consider. If not, then we need the motion for adjournment to be moved.
Speaker, we commence sitting at 2, and certainly if we are to be technical about that, then we should be ending at 6. And because it's not yet 6, a formal motion to bring proceedings to an end. So, Mr. Speaker, if we agree, I'll move the motion that this House stands adjourned until tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Motion for adjournment moved. Any seconder? Yes, Deputy Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion. The leader is perfectly right, because we started sitting at 2 o'clock, and technically we should be ending at 6 o'clock. So moving the motion is in the right direction. So I second the motion.
Exactly why I asked for your guidance. I knew the House was not in my hands because there was still some time for the House. Motion moved and seconded. It's for the consideration of the House. There be no further consideration. The question is, as many as are in favor of the adjournment, say aye. As many say no. I put the question again. As many as are in favor for adjournment, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The House is accordingly adjourned to Thursday, 27th May 2021 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. The House stands adjourned.